Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode. Now, today's podcast episode, I want to talk about time, and that is making time to work on your passion business. Because really, if you don't make time, it's never going to happen. So, what we're going to do is we are going to get into the realistic, real world way of working on your passion business. Because what I did before I came on here, I simply went over to Google just to give me some ideas of, what it recommends you should do if you're trying to find time to work on your passion business, especially if you've got a family, which I have. So you will find that if you have a family, your time is probably taken up doing a lot of things already. So how do you find time to work on your passion business? Well, I'm not going to give you Google's ideas, because Google's ideas are like weight loss tips and tricks. Everybody knows them, but not everybody puts them into place. If we all took action on how to lose weight, we'd all be slim. But look around you right now, and you can be guaranteed that either you know somebody or maybe yourself are carrying a few pounds that you could probably lose right now. And you know for a fact that you probably know all the information on Google, but you're not putting it into use. So I don't want to give you those kind of, tips and tricks that Google is going to give you, because they don't really work, and you already know them, but you're just not putting them into action. So what I want to give you in this podcast episode is realistic tips and tricks and techniques that I have used to build a lot of the things that I do right now. So first of all, I would say to you is to think, how important is it to you to build a business around your passion? How important is it to you? On maybe a scale of 1 to 10, where does it rank? Is it up near 1, being most important, or is it down near number 10? Now, for a fact that the closer you number it to 10, the less chance it's going to happen. Now, I know your family and all your responsibilities should be up here at number 1, but your passion business should be up very closely behind that. Because the more important it is to you, the more you are going to set time aside, focus on doing it, and not put it to the end of a to-do list that's never going to take action, or that you're never going to take action on. We all have those to-do lists that have maybe 10 things that you need to do that day. But many of us actually get to number 10? Rarely. You probably get maybe the first 2, maybe 3 off at most. And what you need to do is you need to have your passion business up there at either 1, 2, or 3, so that you can be guaranteed that every day your business is going to be worked on. Now, the other day I seen something on Amazon. It was a title of a book that I really liked. Now, I haven't bought the book, but this book was about productivity and getting things done. And what the author in the book said that you should do is that you should create before you consume. Now, what he meant by that was most of us would probably turn on the phone in the morning, probably spend, some time on social media, consuming other people's content, and maybe not social media, maybe TV, YouTube, or whatever, but we're consuming other people's content. And because we're consuming other people's content, we're not getting anything done. Now, what the author of that book said is that if you want to do something, you should be creating as soon as you get out of bed. You should be sitting down at your laptop, writing the first pages of your book, or maybe writing a blog post, or maybe recording a video, whatever, but that you should be creating content straight away. And the reason you should be doing that is because content creators make money, not content consumers. It's not the consumers that make money, it's the creators. Now, I'm kind of going off on a side tangent there, but bear that in mind. The people who create are the people who make money, not the people who consume. So going back to that topic of how important your passion business is, if it is really, really important and going on that book, you should really be trying to, work on your passion business first thing in the day. First thing in the day. Now, regardless of how much time you have, it could be 10 minutes, it could be half an hour, it could be an hour. But if you get that done every single day, just that small fraction of time, and you focus on your business in that time, it means your business is done every day. But too many of us actually kind of put our passion business or the thing that we'd like to do at the end of the day, and then by the end of the day, you can be guaranteed you probably don't have time. Maybe an emergency came up. Maybe you just don't have the energy to do it. And we kind of say, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and it doesn't happen and we pass it on to the next day. And basically what we do is we just kick that can down the road and we don't take action on it. But if you feel that your business or what you're doing right now is important, it should become one of the first things that you would do as closely as you can to getting out of bed. Now, if you feel that, recording videos right now could be really important for your passion business, well, there's no reason why you can't get out of bed, brush your hair, brush your teeth, and just sit down in front of a camera and record a video. Now, unless you're maybe paranoid and you feel that you need a full face of makeup or whatever to do that, but really there's nothing really stopping you just sitting down and making a video to your audience straight away and getting that done. And then whatever happens at the rest of the day, if your whole day falls apart, at least you've got your video done. So that's why I recommend, if you are, really wanting this business to happen, you need to make it happen at the start of the day. Because at least at the start of the day, you're going to be fresh. Well, hopefully after a good night's sleep, you're going to have some energy and you're just going to be, maybe after a cup of coffee might take you to wake up, but you're going to be fresh. So it means that you can do your best work probably at the start of the day. Now, if you feel that maybe you can do some more at the end of the day, that's perfect. So you can have a morning session and then an evening session. But I found that when I kind of was focused on doing evening sessions, it sometimes didn't work out because some family emergency came up or I had to do something and just didn't have the time to do it. So I want you just to focus on how important it is. And the more important it is on your checklist, it should be important in your day as well too. So get it done at the start of the day, if possible. Or try and get it as close to the start of your day. Okay, maybe your mornings are taken up, maybe getting the kids ready for school or whatever, but could you maybe get up a little bit earlier? Could you get up before the kids get up and spend half an hour on your laptop, or spend half an hour recording a video, recording a podcast episode like this, or writing a blog post, or doing your social media content for the day before everybody gets up? And maybe if you can't do that, well then try and get it maybe close to lunchtime. But as I said, the more you kind of push it down during your day, the more it comes to evening time and night time, chances are good it's not going to happen. So try and make time at the beginning of the day. Now, in my own case, to give an example of how I used to do it, now sometimes I didn't have time to, work during the day because I used to work a not a 9 to 5 job. I used to work night shift, and I used to work night shift in our local store where I used to stack shelves. And I used to work there for 10 hours every night. So I used to go in at 10 o'clock at night and I used to finish at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, there was no way when I came out of the store at 8 o'clock in the morning that I want to sit down and record content or do anything like that. So that morning was kind of lost to me. But what I used to do was in the beginning when I started writing fiction books, and when I didn't have time to write fiction, between sleeping during the day and working at night and having time with my family, I knew that if I was going to write these fiction books, I needed to find time in my day to do it. And what I used to do was I used to have my laptop. Every time I got into the car with my wife, I would take my laptop with me. Because what I found was that, some days my wife might be maybe shopping for groceries, or maybe clothes shopping, or we might be going down the town to do something. And most times she would probably do that on her own. But by me having my laptop in the car, it would mean I could turn on the laptop. I could write maybe a quick chapter. I could maybe do some, thinking of where the book was going to go next. And I could do some planning, do some writing. And I could do that every 20 minutes I was in the car on my own, or half an hour or whatever. And what I used to do on top of that was that maybe if we were away, maybe on a Sunday, maybe we took the kids to a park or something like that, or, a kind of family event. What I used to do again was I used to take the laptop in my car, and while everybody else went off to do and play in the park or go on the swings or go for a walk or whatever, I used to sit in the car with the laptop and write for maybe half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, or however long I could. And then I'd put the laptop away and then I'd spend the rest of the time with my family. Now, that probably seems a little bit weird, and it probably did seem a little bit weird to maybe, relations and that, when, we used to call around and they'd say, well, where's Barry? And they'd say, oh, Barry's in the car, he's writing a book or whatever. Now, that was a bit, weird to some people, but I knew that if I wanted to get those books written, I needed to spend some time, any portion of time that I could, writing the book. And you will find that maybe some people might think you're a bit weird to do that, to sit in the car for a while and do some writing. But if you're really passionate and if you want this project and this business to work, well, then you need to use that spare time. So you can bring a laptop with you. There's no reason why, nowadays your smartphone, you can record videos. So if you feel that maybe you'd like to record a couple of videos for TikTok or do a video for YouTube or even record a podcast episode, there's no reason why you can't sit down with your smartphone. Just take it out on the moments when you're in the car. And the car is a brilliant place if you are recording anything. It's a brilliant recording studio to record content in. But take out your phone, record a couple of short videos. Record a podcast episode. Even just maybe nowadays there are even, there's apps nowadays that has AI in it where you can actually dictate, where you can actually just talk to your phone, and then what the phone will do, or this app will do, it'll actually create a blog post from the content that you actually give it. So think about that, of creating content while you're in the car, free time during the day and things like that, because really you're not going to get more time in the day. None of us is going to get like 24 and a half hours or 25 hours. We're all limited to 24 hours. So what you need to do is you need to maybe sit down, analyze your normal day and have a look at where you're spending your time. It could be that maybe you can claw back some time by watching less TV. It could be that maybe even just deleting a couple of apps off your phone right now is going to free you up. What I found was I was getting very addicted to TikTok there recently, and I was just consuming a lot of content. I was consuming more content than I was actually creating, and I was finding that in the evening time I was just mindlessly sitting on the sofa, just going through video after video after video and just wasting time. And what I found was as soon as I deleted TikTok off my phone, it gave me a lot more time to read. It was a lot easier just to open the Kindle app, then open the TikTok app, so I could actually spend time reading Kindle books. Again, filling my head with knowledge and coming up with ideas for content and things like that. So give that some thought as well too, that how you're spending your time on your phone. Is there maybe some time you can claw back on your phone that would be more productive? Again, maybe taking off the social media apps, maybe putting on maybe the anchor.fm podcast app and actually creating content instead of consuming content. So give that some thought. Again, when it comes to, working and finding time in your passion business, when I went back over there to Google to give me suggestions of how would you do it as a parent, it was saying things like, delegate your activities or the household chores, or, delegate maybe some work to your kids or whatever. You can get them to take some of the things or help you out maybe with their content and stuff like that. But it was all kind of nice, lovey-dovey, fluffy stuff that doesn't always work for everybody, because you're going to find that even though you might like your family to support you, you might find that maybe your family doesn't. Some of us, mightn't have the most supportive spouses. We mightn't have maybe kids who believe that, mum can build an online business or daddy can build an online business, because sometimes our kids and our close family see us as us. And sometimes, the big dream that we might have of building a passion business where we have a huge podcast or a blog or, creating digital products, or we have a huge audience all over the world, is probably something that when they look at us, don't think that we can do it. So you may find sometimes that maybe the people who are the closest to you are the least supportive. Now, if you have someone like that in your corner, that is amazing. And, you're very fortunate to have someone like that. Now, again, my wife is I'm very fortunate to have my wife for helping me during those times when I was doing the writing and understanding that I needed to sit in the car and do some writing. Like, she was really understanding with that. But if you've got someone like that, that's brilliant. But if you don't, you're not the only one. There are a lot of people out here who have found that people on the internet, people that they don't know, people that they'll never come into contact with, will be more supportive of their dreams and this business they want to build than the people who are closest to you. And you may find sometimes that maybe the people who are the closest to you will only maybe throw a little bit of support in when they start seeing you have some success. Again, most of our family and friends know us a lot. They probably have know all the kind of harebrained schemes we got onto in the past, things that we tried out that didn't work, and they're probably looking at what you're doing right now and thinking the same to themselves. Well, this is just another scheme. She thinks she's going to do TikTok videos and build an audience, or he thinks he's going to be a podcast, or they think they're going to build an online business. It's just going to be another harebrained scheme. It's going to be something that's going to be there for a week or two, and then they'll just give up on it. So don't be surprised if you find that maybe your family and your friends aren't supportive, aren't helping you make more time. And sometimes we really have to just do it for ourselves until they actually fall into line behind us, when they see that we love what we do, that we are having some success, that we are maybe bringing some money into the family, into the house, and then they kind of put their support behind you. So as I said, I didn't want to go to Google and give you all this kind of lovey-dovey, kind of fluffy tips and tricks that I know for a fact, we all know, but they don't work. This is realistic, real world advice that I have used, and I know it works. But the greatest thing I'd probably say to you when it comes to building a business around your passion, you really need to sit down today and you really need to ask yourself, how important is this to me? Am I going to see this as just a simple side hustle? Is this going to be just a hobby that I do on the odd evening, or, when I've got some time at the weekend? If that's your thinking, well, I'm not here to stop you. You can probably make some progress with that. But you really need to dedicate it. You really need to throw your heart and soul into this to give it the best chance of success. And the more you do that, the more you kind of push your passion business to the top of that scale, as close as you can get to number one, you can be guaranteed that you're going to get the work done. Now, what I'd say to you as well too is that if you are looking for maybe some extra ways of working on your online business, I just wrote some things down here on a little post-it note. Now, one thing that I found really, really helpful for me when I was working on my writing years ago and on podcasting, and all I'm doing right now, is time blocking. Sometimes you only have maybe 10 minutes, half an hour that we have time to work on. So what you do is you solely just work on that business for the 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, however long you have it. Turn off the phone, turn off the distractions, lock yourself in a room, find somewhere where you won't be distracted for that half an hour, and give everything you can to that half an hour. And you're going to find that, a lot of us sometimes when we're kind of sitting in the family room and there's people going in and out and people talking to us, sometimes we could have 2 hours of time to work on a business, but we don't get 2 hours quality work in it. We might only get maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, because we're all distracted and, we're not focused on what we need to do. Whereas if you just set time aside, just a solid half an hour, you'll be amazed how much content you could create, how many words you could write. A great podcast episode you could record in just that half an hour. Again, by doing this every day, you're going to build momentum as well too. What I found was on the Kindle books, I focused on my writing 7 days a week. Again, I'm going to do the same with this podcast here. I'm committed to doing one podcast episode every day, because I know if I set time aside every day, it's going to become a habit. And you're going to find as well too that when it comes to setting time aside, if you do it on maybe a Monday and you do it on a Friday and you do it on a Sunday, well, that's all good and well. But there's not a habit actually building there. It's going to take a while for you actually to get into the momentum of it. But if you're setting time aside, like even 20 minutes on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday, slowly you're going to find that becomes part of your day. It just becomes a natural thing to do. And you're going to find that when you're doing it every day, you're going to say to yourself, well, I found 20 minutes here to record stuff today or do writing today. Maybe I can squeeze in another 5 minutes, maybe another 10 minutes. And then suddenly that 20 minutes goes to half an hour. And then you might find that maybe you're making progress on half an hour and you realize, something, I'm spending a lot of time on social media or TV. I can cut back on that. And then you take maybe half an hour away from TV. And then all of a sudden, then you're up to an hour of quality work every day. So by doing it every day, again, it's up to you if you want to do it or not. But I would recommend you do it every day, that it becomes a habit and becomes something that's part of your life. And what I'd say to you as well too is that if you find that you've only got 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, A solid 10 or 20 minutes is something to be congratulated about. A lot of us sometimes think, well, all these other people on the internet, they're spending hours and they're creating all this lovely content and they've got time to write and they've got this and that and the other. Forget about those other people. I want you just to focus on your journey, because your journey is the most important thing to you. Disregard everybody else. Forget about me. Just focus on you. And if you are only making small progress, give yourself a pat on the back. Don't beat yourself up because you're not spending an hour, because you've only got half an hour in your day. Congratulate yourself that you are actually spending half an hour on your business every single day. And like the Great Wall of China, you're going to find that half an hour stacked up day after day after day is going to build and build and build, and it's going to get you there eventually. The only way that you're not going to get there is if you give up, if you stop putting those bricks in your wall. So congratulate yourself on putting time aside. Congratulate yourself on putting your business, your passion business, as a priority in your day, because most people won't. Most people will put it down at the end of the day. Most people will probably do it maybe the odd day, maybe a bit of the weekend, and then they'll wonder why they're not making any progress. Congratulate yourself on doing something consistently, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes. That is amazing. So as I said, I didn't want to give you something that's all kind of, fluff that I know isn't going to work. These are real world techniques that I have done, I have used, and I will continue to use to create content and do my writing and build this business that I'm in right now. So if you enjoyed this podcast episode, if you have any questions or if you'd like to leave any comments, please do feel free to leave any comments, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.